Hi, I'm John Hewlett, and today I have the honor and the opportunity of interviewing my own brother, Ernie, Ernest Hewlett, who's been a very successful financial planner, securities, investment person through the years. And he, like I, picked up the genetic issues of high blood pressure, bad back that our father had. And our father died literally of sleep apnea and his heart stopping at 62 years old. So we, in addition to having father, grandfather, uncles, cousins who died of cardiovascular situations, we have firsthand know what it's like to have life shortened by, of course, chronic disease that can come through genetics, let alone stress. And we probably had a little stress in our life, haven't we, Ernie? Yeah. Ernie and I go way back. I brought him into the insurance business back in the late 70s, early 80s, and we worked together on a lot of things. And so stress isn't new to the Hewlett boys. And so one of the things that when I got involved with nitric oxide and pro-arginine, and then later started our own company with Cardio Miracle, which we believe is the finest dual pathway delivery of nitric oxide, was the impact of vitamin D3 and stress. And what I'd like to do is maybe just ask Ernie what impact he has seen personally in coping with the stress of life through taking a product like Cardio Miracle.
I think in my case, John, I'm one of those individuals that tries to be a perfectionist. A lot of my stress is self-imposed, as many high-driven people like yourself. We want to make things well for everyone, our friends, those who work with us, and I have normal stress through the stress of my job and the people that I work with. But I think the last handful of years, I've probably gone through more stress than I've had in my entire life, with some personal challenges, with deaths in the family, with some things that have happened to my children that they had no control over. Our anxiety, our commitments, we run on very little sleep. We're working hard and trying to do as much as we can. I honestly can say without Cardio Miracle, I'm not sure I would have lived through it. That may be a overstatement, but I don't believe so. I think John and I both, through our genetic codes, we were raised thinking, we'll be lucky if we make it to 60. Through this product, I feel great. I'm in some of the best shape of my life. I can physically participate in activities, but more than anything, I can take a scoop when things aren't going quite as well. It clears my head. It immediately gives me a little bit of boost of inner confidence and definitely physical strength to attack whatever projects I've got to attack. I'm just absolutely grateful for him allowing me to go on the product. Our whole lives we've been extremely driven, and it was at a point in my life where I probably had more challenges, opportunities to grow, you may call them, but real challenges in my life. And by him allowing me this opportunity, it may have realistically saved my life.
Ernie, you've had, as you can probably tell, Ernie got the thinner genetics in the family than I did. And he's always stayed in shape. He's worked out a lot, but he's had a lot of injuries. You've had shoulder surgeries multiple times and other types of things because you're very active in skiing, surfing, basketball, things like that. Have you noticed the difference between the surgery recoveries when you were taking nitric oxide and the surgeries you had before that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of surgeries. I work hard, I play hard, and tend to get injured. I've only had one major injury since I've been on the product, which is phenomenal compared to my track record. I had multiple rotator cuff surgeries, knee surgeries, broken feet, ankles, dislocations, and I was rear-ended in a car accident and had a traumatic to my shoulder. I'd had 2 previous surgeries on that shoulder. Neither one of those was I on the product. This last one, Dr. Cooper performed, who does a lot of the Olympic athletes and the Real Salt Lake players like Morales when he injured his leg. One of the best cardio people in town, and he was amazed at my bounce back. Not only did the surgery go extremely well, but my therapy, I think I got done in about 40% of the time of the 2 previous surgeries. And I can honestly say, between a great doctor and a great product, it allowed me to work harder, quicker recovery, and I was back to doing full activities. There was a point in time I couldn't lift my hand and wash my hair before my first surgery. And right now I can throw a baseball, I can surf, I can paddle, I can ski, I can shoot a basketball. And honestly, both my chiropractic and my cardio fellow, they both said that, and my orthopedic, they all said that the recovery time was amazing.
Well, one of the things we know from nitric oxide is it reduces inflammation. And so it also helps the blood flow and helps the tissue repair itself when it's been damaged. It also has a great periodontal effect, and so that impact too. I'd like to ask you, there have been over the last several years times where you've probably run out of product. Have you noticed a difference within a couple of days when you go without the product? Because a lot of times that's the real proof in the pudding, as they say, is go off it for a while, because people forgot how bad they used to feel before they get on the product.
Yeah, I would say that probably the first thing I feel is in the morning. You know, I usually get up, I have a protein shake, I do my scoop in my bottle, and then I do another scoop that I carry with me for the first couple hours of the day and sip on. And I just find my energy, you know, my energy level goes down. My anxiety seems to rise up a little bit. As far as working out, it takes a few days to really notice, but I think my stamina isn't as high, and definitely the recovery. I probably feel the recovery as you get older, the aches and pains of working out and doing high level activity. When I'm like down in Costa Rica surfing, you know, I may take 3 or 4 scoops a day. A scoop right before I go out, scoop right when I get back, and then I usually work out or go hiking, and I'll take another scoop, and by the next day I don't have those aches and pains. When I was surfing without that, and you have a couple of bad waves, you get beat up trying to get your board through these huge waves in Costa Rica. I mean, sometimes I'd have aches and pains for the rest of my trip. So
you've noticed the difference?
Very much so.
That's an important thing. And the other thing that you've seen is you've had a couple of friends, one a very prominent lawyer who we introduced to the product, and it was interesting because he was pretty skeptical, and he had had major cardiovascular surgeries, stents, and virtually felt like he could see no improvement. And after one meeting, now he's one of our more faithful customers, and talks about that he can't go a day without it.
Yeah, I run into David. We're in a dinner set, a study group with our church beliefs, but David's an international attorney, one of the best in international law, and the first thing out of his mouth every time we come together is, "Thank you for introducing me to your brother." We've got a lot of things to talk about, but I can honestly say if I see him once a month or more often, one of the first things he says is either, "How do I get a hold of him? I need some more," or "Thank you for introducing me." Because once you've had all those heart issues, he really was at a point in time where he thought he was a ticking time bomb. And
he was.
He's
at 67, 68 years old, he had very serious problems, and he's now on auto delivery. So we don't get those last minute calls to have to go deliver it to his house, which he kind of likes us to do. But it's been wonderful. It's nice to have somebody have those kinds of results that you know you may have been going to his funeral the last couple of years. Well, that's great. What else would you say to people as far as prevention, as far as being able to function without disease and colds, and to be able to minimize the use of pharmaceuticals and those types of things? Have you seen some improvement there?
Very much so. I think we always look at cost of things, and we view things as an expense rather than as an investment. And with Cardio Miracle, the investment is so small for not missing days because you're sick, feeling better when you're at full stress levels or have to make major decisions or have to be at your best. your health, your strength, your clear-mindedness, your ability to perform, and not always be, you know, it's like trying to drive a car that's got the yellow light on because it's running out of oil. It feels like you're running at full capacity instead of always, am I going to make it to the next oil change? And that's probably the biggest thing. I don't think you can afford not to go on the product because of the loss of productivity, the extension of your life. I mean, if you don't want to live a long time, and then probably don't go on the product. But if you want to increase your productivity, run at full capacity, and it's a small investment to make for the time I now don't lose because I'm sick in bed, or the days that I'm just struggling through that I can now attack with vigor and feel good. If I'm having a day where challenges are coming at me, which is what most of my days are like, it's not which problem to attack, it's which order to attack. You know, a scoop in a bottle, take it with me, be driving to work down to Salt Lake, Provo, Ogden, or wherever, jumping on a plane, I drink it on the way to the airport. It just gives me that added boost to be able to think well, to perform well, and to work hard.
You know, one thing you told me the other day, you said, and it's kind of an interesting, but because of some very, very serious family issues, you were going to do almost a minor angina attack, chest pains, even going to the radiated arm. And even though you've been taking the Cardio Miracle, the stress was kind of overwhelming you. And tell the audience what you did and what happened.
I've got to be a little bit careful what I go into on
You don't need to go into the circumstances.
Yeah, into my daughter's situation, but she was attacked, and I'll leave it at that. It was a serious situation. We were in court. Her attacker admitted to what he did. But as a father, when you feel like sometimes you can't protect your own kids, I was overwhelmed. I was glad he was in jail. And I came home that night, and I'd taken it in the morning. Some nights I don't take it because of sleep issues. But my shoulder and my arm just kept twitching. And I knew something was wrong. I had a strong pain right in my
sternum.
Yeah, my sternum, right in the middle of my chest. And this arm just kept twitching. And I was saying to my wife, you know, either I need a priesthood blessing or something from God. And all of a sudden I thought, well, heck, John always tells me, you know, if something's going wrong, go drink the Cardio Miracle. So I did 2 liters, and literally this twitch that had been going on for about 2.5 hours, I was getting ready to go to the hospital and check into the emergency and see what was up. After 2 liters of the product, I can honestly say within a half an hour, the twitching stopped, the pain stopped, the stress, the anxiety, the self-talk. I was able to later fall asleep, and I don't know how it does it, why it does it, but all I can say is if you're questioning it, put it to the test. And that night, I was probably at a level of stress that I've had very few nights in my entire life. And my body was shutting down. And all I can tell you is the symptoms went away, and then the pain went away, and I was allowed to fall asleep so my body could heal.
Well, Cardio Miracle and nitric oxide is the grandchild of nitroglycerin. It's the same science that developed nitroglycerin by Alfred Nobel, the founder of the Nobel Prize. How interesting that his grandchild, nitric oxide, was discovered in 1998 and won the Nobel Prize of all things. And it dilates the artery, it relaxes the heart, and it helps deliver blood flow, oxygen, and nutrients to the cell. And so when the nervous system is shutting down because of stress and oxidative stress and free radicals, when you add and supplement nitric oxide to your system, it has a therapeutic healing effect. That's why they call it the miracle molecule. And it's one of the top and highest antioxidants a person can take. So we don't advocate that if you're having a heart attack that you not go to the emergency room.
And I would have. If the twitching hadn't stopped, if the pain hadn't gone away, that was my next step.
But that was so profound when you shared that with me, because I've had for myself a few times where the chest pains through stress, because angina is stress induced in a lot of ways. And many people have just a heart attack and die. That's why it's important to supplement with nitric oxide every day to protect against that. But when you're under more stress, when you're having more physical problems, of course, if you need to go to your physician, go there. But take a couple of scoops, a couple of doses of nitric oxide supplementation, and you will probably feel better. That's been our experience. And we know that what nitric oxide does is clinically proven. There's over 100,000 medical journal articles that talk about it as being a dilate your arteries, deliver blood and oxygen and nutrition to the cell. We know that. University of Florida said that nitric oxide is the spark of life in the cell. So when your battery's almost dead, you may want a spark. And that's what nitric oxide has been called by the University of Florida. Case Western Medical Center in the Midwest said that nitric oxide was the essential third gas to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now you can imagine if you were hosing yourself with a lot of carbon dioxide, you're going to die. So the reality is, if nitric oxide is important in exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide and making it more efficient and keeping mutating cells from mutating, nitric oxide must be really, really important. So we only wish it would grow hair.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe it does in certain places. But in fact, I won't go into detail, but my wife's mother said her hair was growing back on her legs that had neuropathy. So you never know. We've seen wonderful things. I appreciate Ernie sharing his very personal experiences with us today. Anyone who knows Ernie Hewlett knows he's a man of honesty and of integrity. And, you know, he hasn't been paid to do this. Of course, he's my younger brother, but we together have been on a journey, and we both are extremely grateful for the miracle of nitric oxide.
I'd just like to say I've never endorsed a product in my life, holistic product. I've endorsed chiropractors, I've endorsed kinesiology, I've taken supplements. This is the first time I've ever fully endorsed a product. John talks a little bit about dental work. I don't remember the last time I had a cavity. I mean, I'll have a filling fall out or a crown fall out, but also my dentistry has been almost, I've gone times 3 years without seeing a dentist. I go in and they say everything looks good. So I do believe in this product. I don't throw out endorsements really easily if I don't believe in something, if I'm not passionate about it. I honestly believe this may have saved my life. So it is a great product. Put it to the test. If you don't think it's going to work, go on it for 90 days. Test your cholesterol, your blood pressure, triglycerides, and if it doesn't help you, then you know I would absolutely be shocked, and I'm sure John would refund you your money. He's always said, absolutely, go on the 90-day challenge. And I've just been grateful to him for allowing me to find a product that's helped me so much.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.